So today is day 2 of force fetch with 11-month-old Bexley, and yesterday we started off with hold. So we're going to start off today with a quick hold review before we move to asking her to start reaching for the dummy on her own, which is where we'll introduce the ear pinch. So we'll start with review. So I'm holding her ear, but I'm not pinching it, but I'm mostly using my thumb to pry open her mouth. Good girl. That's a good dog. Good. Heel. I just had to have her move there because it looked like she was about to slip. And with these young dogs in the early phases, we're trying to help them succeed. Later on, I will try to set her up to fail so I have an opportunity to correct her, and that's where the real learning happens. But early on, good girl. We're just looking to help build their confidence as they learn new skills. Good. Okay. Here. Sit. Good girl. Okay, so she knows that if she holds this dummy until I ask her to drop it, she'll get a food reward. So we're just adding one more level to that where we're asking her to reach for the dummy to show the initiative to grab it on command. All right, so I'm gonna hold it just a few inches in front of her nose, and I'm gonna use my left hand to not only just hold her ear like I've been doing, but I'm gonna apply some pressure where I'll be digging one nail in. And the whole idea behind that is just that when she feels that pain, she'll probably whine, or she might whine, and then at that point she'll open her mouth. And then she's learning that it's a command and that she can shut off the pressure. If she just grabs the toy, I will immediately release that pressure on her ear. All right, ready, Bex? Set, fetch. So I'm pinching. She's being tough and quiet. Come on. So I'm gonna help her a little bit. She's a quiet one, but she is feeling pressure. Okay. Yeah, good girl. So as soon as she opens her mouth up, I'm helping her take the dummy. So really right now she's learning that if she feels that pressure on her ear, that she needs to open her mouth, which is a good first step. Then we can progress to when she feels any pressure on her ear that she needs to reach for the dummy. And then eventually she needs to pick up the dummy off the ground. Good girl. We'll let her have a nice long hold, something that she knows. Good. Drop. Good job. Good. We'll switch dummies here. So we'll start off with same exact process where first we'll just remind her just to hold. Good. I like to start every session with some review from the day before. It helps build up their confidence, get them more excited about training. So she's seen this, or she had seen this dummy yesterday. Drop. But since this is her first time with it today, I'm gonna back up. Force fetch is all about taking small baby steps, slowly forward and occasionally backwards as you work the dog up. Okay, now I'm gonna ask her to retrieve it. So pay attention to my left hand as it's the one doing all the work. Ready? Fetch. I'm taking a step forward, kind of hint to her that she needs to move. Yes, good, good girl. So I don't want to just be giving her pain without giving her an outlet that she can turn that pain off. So I tried to give her a lot of physical cues there. I took a step forward with my left foot, which is where she's been healing with me. So I was trying to encourage her to move forward. Good. And then in addition to that, I was pulling her forward with my left hand, and then I did, with my right hand, put the dummy in when her mouth opened. Drop. Good girl. And then the second the millisecond the dummy is in her mouth, then we need to release all pressure, and that's where I immediately switch to positive reinforcement. Good job. That's a good girl. So we'll give her just a minute now to collect herself. Calm down. Good. That's a good girl. Ready? Fetch. Yes, good girl. That's such a good dog. Good dog. All right, so she doesn't know what the pressure means yet, but that was quicker that time, and you can see that she really has no issues opening her mouth. Like, she already seems to understand that if the dummy is in there, she won't feel anything. But she just needs to make the connection now that she can reach for the dummy herself instead of needing me to place it in there. And she'll get there, it just takes repetition. Good girl. That's such a good dog. Good. And when we're applying heavy pressure like this, it is good to give them just a moment to relax. So we'll just do a little bit of healing. We'll give her a few seconds here to just relax. All right, good. Good girl. That's a good dog. Just trying to keep her loose. Keep this still kind of a fun activity. Good. Okay, we'll go back to this dummy. Sit. Good. Face the camera. Come here. Good. Ready? So she's doing a little avoidance here. They look away. It's because she's afraid now that if she just looks at it, she's going to feel pressure. So we make sure we give her a good command so she knows when it's expected, right? So we'll give her both the verbal command of fetch, and we'll give her multiple physical cues between the ear and me stepping forward to help her and pulling her forward. Ready, Bexley? Good. Fetch. Good girl! Sit. Hopefully you could see the huge improvement there. So I just barely had put my nail into her ear, but it didn't, she didn't even need that much pressure, where she automatically took the couple steps forward and started reaching for it. So she's already figuring out, hey, I can decide how much pressure I feel. Sit and when. Good girl. Drop. Good job. That's such a good girl. All right, get up. All right, it's good to keep her loose, but at the same time, this is a work session, not a play session, so I'm not gonna let her roll around. Good, sit. Good girl. Let's see if I can get her to reach for the dummy and then apply some of the principles from yesterday, like moving with the dummy afterwards. Ready? Set. Fetch. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Good. That's such a good dog. Back. Good girl. Drop. Good job. Good. That's what we like to see, that she's moving forward so quickly. Okay, come here. Sit. Good. All right, I think her owners have done a little bit of work with her, so maybe she didn't quite make the connection right away, but most dogs probably won't be reaching for the dummy on day 2. But hopefully within a day or 2. I usually tell people that if your dog isn't reaching for the dummy by the end of the first week of force fetch, you're doing something wrong. If they're not picking the dummy up off the ground within 2 weeks of starting force fetch, you're doing something wrong, and you need to have somebody help you with probably the timing of the pressure and when to release it. So I'm excited that she's doing this on day 2 already. Well, reaching for it on day 2. So we're gonna try the harder dummy now. So again, now that she's had some success on the smaller ones, we need to just keep challenging her. Ready? Fetch. She's trying some avoidance there. Come on. Good girl. So I just maintained that pressure on her ear the whole time, and I kept moving forward. Again, I like giving them as many physical cues as possible. I'm pinching her ear here. Yes, good girl. Good. And then eventually she did make the right decision, where she realized I just better grab the dummy so I can shut off the pain and the pressure. And then she did have that drop, so all I did is just immediately pinch her ear. She needs to learn that she needs to maintain the hold until she's commanded to drop it. And along those same lines, I usually scratch the chest first, do something first before I ever reach for the dummy, because I don't want them anticipating when I'm going to ask for the drop. Drop. Good girl. Dogs are really wonderful animals because they do like to anticipate how to please us, but that can also make them have some mistakes at a test where they might drop the duck before you actually reach for it. So we train for harder, and then test day is the only day where I just grab it directly from their mouth. Good girl, yes. That's a good dog. Okay, come here. Come here. see if we can get her to pick it up or grab it just a little quicker this time. Good. Okay, ready? Nope, getting a little distracted by a fly. Hey, Bex. We have to ignore flies. Ready? Okay, fetch. Yes, good girl. Sit. That's a good dog. So she was really fighting me on that one. She really didn't want to grab the dummy. But again, same rule as yesterday, you cannot let the dog win. You have to win. So I could not release pressure until she had the dummy in her mouth. But then you can see that she is the one then making an effort. I don't have to help her as much anymore by putting the dummy in her mouth. As long as I've got it somewhere where she can get to it, she is figuring out, I better just grab it. Good. Good dog. Okay, come here. I'm gonna heel her around just for a second. I just think it helps clear their mind. You gotta give them a second off every now and then. Good. And now we'll switch back to an easier dummy since she struggled a bit on that one. Are you ready? Fetch. Good. Good girl. So she's doing a little bit of avoidance. Sit. Behavior where instead of just reaching straight for it, see how she's angling her body towards me? And you know, I'm okay with a little bit of that because we'll get it corrected here shortly with just more work on this. Good girl. But I'm still winning. And even there, I had a nail in her ear, but I wasn't actively, applying a lot of pressure. So really, drop. I didn't have to pinch her that time for her to reach for the dummy. I just had that nail in there as a reminder that I would pinch her if she did not behave properly. That's such a good girl. Yeah, good job. Okay, come here. Bex. All right, sit. Good. Ready? Fetch. Good. All right, she was testing me a little there just to see what she could get away with. She thought, well, maybe if I just touch the dummy, sit, I will get rewarded. You can see how she was nosing my hand into the dummy, but I did not give in. I just kept applying pressure until she moved her muzzle over to grab a proper position on the dummy, and then I released pressure. So in that way, we're teaching her where to best grab hold of dummies as well. Drop. Good girl. That's such a good dog. Good. All right, come here. Sit. Fetch. Good. Good girl. All right, come here. Once they start reaching for it, we start doing like comeback drills, I guess is, We start doing comeback drills is what I call it, where once the dog is moving out away from me to grab it, then I immediately call them and spin them around to get them to come sit and deliver to me. And we do this for a couple of reasons. The first one is I want the dog getting in the habit of as soon as they grab something, instantly turning back to bring it to me. And then the second reason I like starting this drill is because this is where Bexley is really going to learn that she needs to sit to front. Sit to properly deliver. Still getting some distractions from things in our house that she's not used to, but that's normal. Good girl. That's such a good dog. Yeah. So tons of praise. Just keeping her loose, keeping it a fun session and not super stressful for her. Right. That's such a good girl. Good. Sit. All right, let's try it again. Fetch. Good. Here. Sit. So that was really nice. I touched her ear, but I didn't even actually use the fingernail at all. And yet she moved out nicely to grab it. Drop. And for now, I'm giving her reminders to turn and come back to me. But we shouldn't have to do that for long. All right, stay. Again, this dog did not know the word stay until yesterday, so we're still learning. Ready? And I'm gonna, now that she's reaching for it really well, I'm gonna increase the challenge and the difficulty level by reaching the dummy out even further and further away from my body. Okay, ready, Beck? I'm still gonna step with my left leg to give her another cue that she needs to move forward. Bexley, fetch. Yes, good girl. Good. You can see how easily distracted she is. Like, she knows to come back, but she still wants to check out everything. So we'll keep working on her sitting nicely to present to front. Drop. Good girl. But that was very nice. I didn't even have to keep my finger on her ear that whole time to get her to complete the retrieve. Come here. Back. Sit. See how far we can push her. Ready? Fetch. Yes, good girl. Good. Sit. Good. That's such a good dog. That's excellent work. Fetch. She's not to the point of picking up off the ground yet. Yes, good girl. Come here. Come here. Sit. Okay, so as I mentioned, she's not to the point yet of picking dummies up off the ground, so when she does drop it, we still need to offer some assistance there. Drop. So you can see that I was holding her ear. I wasn't really pinching her, but just holding them by the ear is enough to get the point across. And she tried to manipulate me by laying down on the ground. That's how they try to just shut the pressure off and quit. And we just can't let them quit. So you can see that I did not release her ear because she didn't have the dummy in her mouth. So she learned that she had to put that dummy back in. Well, she probably hasn't totally learned that lesson yet. But you can see that I did help her with reaching for it or giving her the hint that she needed the dummy in order to shut off the pressure. But I won the battle. So now I'm just letting her loosen up a little bit. We're gonna try it again. We will switch dummies, but usually you only have like 1 or 2 sessions where the dog throws that kind of fit. And I know it can be frustrating, but you need to keep your cool because often that's where the real learning happens. She's not gonna wanna go through that again, so I suspect this next retrieve she'll do much better and she won't drop it. Okay, come here. Good girl, come here. Good girl. But just to help her forget it, we'll switch dummies too. Ready? Fetch. Yeah, good girl. No chomping. I don't know if you can see in the video, but she cheated a little bit there. She started to go for the dummy before I even really gave her the fetch command or the ear tap, which shows that she definitely understood that that little tussle we just had meant, wow, I better just get that dummy in my mouth, so that I don't feel any pressure. So that's why you have to have those moments. And I know in the moment it can be very stressful for both you and the dog, but once you get through it, the dog is so much the better for it. Good girl, yes. Come here. Okay, come here. Once they get to the point of reaching for the dummy before you even tell them, then you know that you've really gotten through to them, that they really understand that the way to avoid all pressure is to just grab the dummy as quickly as possible. See right here, she's ready to go now. Ready? Okay, fetch. Yes, good girl, come back. Okay, sit. I don't like how she always tries to curl in, so again, we're trying to get her to sit directly in front. But very good. So I'm not applying any pressure at this point. All I did was just touch her ear. Let's go, fetch. You can do better than that. Good. She tried to cheat and release a little early. I don't want to be super hard on her yet. Drop. So I helped her out a little there, but good girl. So good. Yeah. All right, sit. So we have progressed a long ways in just this one session from her seemingly not understanding what the ear pressure meant at all to her rushing to grab the dummy before I might apply ear pressure. So I think that's enough to call it for one session. I'm gonna do one more just with an easier dummy. I like to always finish with the easy one. Sit. So we'll go back to this one. It's pretty easy to grip. Are you ready? Look how in tune she is. Like, this is where you know they're starting to get it too. She's not avoiding the dummy. She's not avoiding me. She's just saying, okay, let's get this over with. Ready? Fetch. Yes, good girl. Come here. Sit. Good. Good girl. And I like that they maintain eye contact. You know, she still has some work to go and just sitting directly in front of me. Drop. But she understands who the boss is. Good girl. Very nice. Cool. So our next training session, we'll just work on her reaching further for the dummy, and we'll start varying the height at which I'm holding the dummy so that hopefully the next couple days we'll be able to transition to her picking the dummy up off the ground.